What is going on, everyone? DSP here, and welcome to another edition of Ask the King. Today is August 25th, 2011, and I believe this is episode 16. So we've now gone through 16 official versions of Ask the King, which is pretty cool when you think about it, you know, how long I've been doing it and all the stuff that we've talked about and answered over the course of almost a year now. I'd say that I've probably been doing this. I do need to get this done relatively quickly. I know that a lot of the times I do two to three parts of these, but I want to try to get this done in one part. I actually have a very important channel update I'll be putting up today with a lot of information that's been, accumulating. So I want to try to get through these, so we're going to get right into the questions, and hopefully we'll get through this within a half hour. So let me start my timer here. Okay, the first question. It says, what do you think about the Resident Evil HD remakes only being $20 as opposed to the normal full price that retail releases for remakes usually get? For example, Splinter Cell and Prince of Persia got HD remakes and they were full priced. Is the example set by this and the Beyond Good and Evil remake that came out earlier this year one that should be followed by future remakes? And another question was, other than a perfect HD port of Super Turbo, what HD remake would you most want to see occur in the future? And those questions are from Hazard. Well, first of all, a remake is a remake, you know what I mean? And if you're going to remake a game and you're not really significantly putting in a lot of new content, if it's just a graphical overhaul, then I completely agree that these games should be being released for discounted prices. I think that the $20 price point for the Resident Evil remakes is perfect, because if you want to play the game again in HD, that's a good price. If it's the first time you're ever experiencing those games, but you realize you're probably going to have some dated gameplay, that's probably a reasonable price. I don't think anyone should be charging full price for an HD re-release. I think that would be absolutely ridiculous. So, I really feel that they're going the right route with the Resident Evil remakes. Now, as for what game would I most like to see remade in HD in the future, I would love to see the original Final Fantasy games. Any one of them from Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 6. Those 2D games, I want to see one of those remade in HD. I think that seeing HD artwork, hand-drawn in those games, would be gorgeous. I mean, those games at the time, the graphics were gorgeous. They were more high resolution than most other games. The artwork, again, the enemies in Final Fantasy games usually are hand-drawn artwork that were just digitized. And so, to put that in HD, to have someone redraw those in HD, I think would be amazing. Now, if they do it right, don't do it anime style or anything like that. Do it the classical art style that they've used throughout the Final Fantasy series. If they could do that and do those graphics in HD, I think that would be amazing. Next question. Dear DSP, I was wondering if Machinima were to offer you a job working for them in LA, just like they did to Sean Anners and Hutch, would you take it and why? Keep up the good work. And this question is from Beaner Mania. Great choice of name. The answer right now is no. Even if Machinima were to offer me a full-time job to move out there, I would say no, because honestly right now I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm making really good money doing it, and I don't have to be on a set schedule. I have freedom in my life to do things, to go on trips whenever I want, to do things whenever I want. So no, there's no way that I would go from what I have right now to a full-time job. The only way I would do it is if it was a significant increase in what I'm making right now. And there's probably, I really doubt that they were going to, that Machinima especially, just to work on a website and put up videos would pay me, a ridiculous amount of money or anything to do that. It's probably going to be a standard salary similar to what I had when I had my old job, which actually was a pretty decently paying job. So no, unless it was a ridiculous amount of money, I wouldn't consider going back to a set schedule. That would be pretty nuts. And a pretty silly thing to do. Next question. Dear Phil, I've been looking around at old Evo tournament results, back when you used to participate and actually kick everyone's ass. I noticed that your name is sometimes listed as DXP. I'm really confused. Is this a typo, or is there another person in the same real name as you? I want to know more about your fighting game history, but I keep seeing two different names. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so that question is from Ingram. Well, the bottom line is that at one point in the fighting game community, as you know, I've always was like a controversial figure. I was always hated on because I spoke my mind. And so, when I first started doing really, really well in fighting game tournaments, and like you said, winning Evo East, and I placed 4th place at Evo, the National in Vegas, people started to listen up to what I had to say. And so I would say stuff that would be truthful, but sometimes hurtful, but sometimes very controversial, and people just started hating on me so much to the point where like I was like, alright, that's it, I can't take it anymore. So I kind of changed my name temporarily. And DXP, as silly as it is, stood for Degeneration X Phil, because I was a fan of the Degeneration X stable in WWE wrestling in the 90s, and then actually when they came back at the mid-2000s, so I started actually wearing DX clothes. Yeah, I was wearing DX shirts, DX hats to tournaments and stuff, and I was still doing really well. In fact, if you watch my win at Evo East 2007, where I beat Seth Killian in the finals of Super Turbo, you'll see I'm wearing a DX hat, and they actually showed that in the video, so you can check that out if you're interested. But eventually, after 2007, I laid off fighting games for a long time. It was almost like 2 years until I really returned to fighting games officially with the return of Street Fighter 4. And then when I was on YouTube, I used my Dark Side Phil moniker because it wasn't, there was no controversy surrounding it like there was in the fighting game community. So, and then I just, went back to that. Alright, next question. Dear Phil, I'm a longtime fan and wanted your opinion on something. I've heard you say a couple times that you're a fan of Conan O'Brien. I think that I wanted to know what you think of his show on TBS. Do you think it's better than a show on NBC that he had a year ago? Are you still angry at what NBC did to him? Thanks for your time, Mr. Warhawk417. First of all, of course I'm angry at what NBC did to him. They completely screwed him, and for those who don't know the story, here's what happened. Jay Leno was the host of The Tonight Show, okay? And then right after that show ended was Conan O'Brien's show, okay? Late Night with Conan O'Brien. And it was like this for over a decade, and actually I think it was actually 15 years or something like that. And then finally they were grooming Conan O'Brien and saying, listen, Jay Leno's eventually going to retire. We want you to pop into his slot because you're younger, you'll grab that audience. And so this is what they've been doing all along. Now Jay Leno didn't want to leave, and then NBC told Jay Leno, listen, it's time. We've decided your ratings have been slumping. We want you to retire, and we want Conan to take over for you. So that's exactly what they did. But Jay Leno put up a stink and said, listen, I've been dedicated to you for so long, I want my show still. I want a show. I love being on TV. Regardless of the fact that he's filthy rich, for him it wasn't about the money. He just wanted to be on TV. So they gave him a show earlier than his previous time slot that actually led into the Conan O'Brien Tonight Show. And what ended up happening was there was a giant split now in who was watching what, because people were like, gee, do I watch the Tonight Show because I'm a fan of it, but now it has a new host, or do I watch the Jay Leno show, but now he leads in? And also the problem was that Jay Leno's show actually wasn't pulling in very good ratings at all, to the point where people were saying, listen, when you used to have other shows on TV like dramas and comedies, they would pull in ratings and people would stay watching to watch the Tonight Show afterwards. People are now actually turning off their TVs when Jay Leno comes on in this earlier time slot because it's not that good of a show. So there was all this controversy surrounding what was going on, and finally NBC says, well, we're not getting as good ratings either on Jay Leno's show or on Conan's show. Let's just undo everything we just did. So they completely fucked over Conan O'Brien and basically said, gee, do you want to go back to a later time slot? And he said, no, you've been telling me for 15 years you're grooming me to be the host of The Tonight Show. You only give this to me for like 8 months and now you think you're going to take it back? Are you an Indian giver? Like, this is so disrespectful. And he basically told NBC, fuck you, I'm leaving. I've had enough of your shit. So he did, and now he's on TBS doing the exact same show. I think the show on TBS is good. I don't watch it every night. I watch it every once in a while, but I never watched Conan every night when he used to be on NBC either. But I'm happy for him. He seems to be happy where he is. And he seems to be getting some pretty good guests. It's not like his guests have dried up. The good thing is that since he was in late night for so long, that he is friends personally with a lot of celebrities. So a lot of big name celebrities like Tom Hanks, Will Ferrell, go on the show frequently, and so it makes him look good. So I wish him the best. I hope that he's successful. Eventually, I hope that maybe he does make it back to the, standard cable channels, not the, TBS, the land of what fucking channel is TBS on my TV, because I don't even know. But I think it's working out good for him. I am still disappointed with what NBC did, and it just goes to show. NBC did the same thing with Howard Stern. They fucked him over, then they fuck over Conan. They don't know how to treat talent. They're unprofessional idiots. And now that I've dashed any hope of ever having a show on NBC, let's continue. A lot of people have been asking me about what's been going on with Justin TV and their streaming abilities. And now that they've changed over to Twitch TV, if I would consider going over there. And actually, a fan called Komaru posted up this detailed diagram with description how I could possibly set up a live stream here, and explaining to me that now they have a revenue share program, and a lot of people who do it full-time streaming are saying that you could probably do it and have it replace your full-time job. I appreciate the effort, but the thing is, if you go look at this guy, if you look at the last Ask the King thread, this post from Kumaru, it's so complicated what he explains. He's like, well, you need to get an HD PVR, you need to get a microphone, you need to get this, you need to get this program to encode, you need to get this program to stream, and you need to do this and this and this and this and this, and I got a fucking headache reading it. Like, what I'm doing right now is ideal for me. I get to enjoy games, not so much, you know, have to set up a fucking huge technical, complicated system here to record the games. I put a camera down, I play the game, I do commentary, and I think that's what people like. They like it simple. For me to go super complicated and everything to get a stream set up, I'm not so sure how that would go down. Also, keep in mind, I have friends like Howard and Chris Doyle who do stream. They could stream from my place if they wanted. They have the hardware to do it. I'm just really not that interested in it right now. That doesn't mean that in the long term, in the future, that something might change, but for now, I'm happy doing what I'm doing on YouTube, and there's really no reason for me to even, you know, look into streaming. So, that's that. Next question. Hey Phil, your playthrough of Catherine was one of your most addictive playthroughs to watch so far because it was a really compelling story. I always wanted to know what was happening next, but I actually skipped the gameplay. I didn't so much like the gameplay and I found it repetitive. Do you think that the story of a game is more important than gameplay? And does it make it easier for you to comment on a game when a story is great? Greetings from Latvia, and that's from Arkanoids 3. Absolutely. When the story of a game is a gripping story or an interesting story, it makes it a hell of a lot more easy to comment on. I mean, just look at a game, again, like Heavy Rain, where people are still saying is probably my best playthrough of all time. The story was so gripping. You had unique characters, okay, who you cared about, who you really were interested in because their stories were being fleshed out. You had a mystery, a murder mystery, and you really didn't know what was going on. On top of all of that, there were other things going on that also were kind of confusing. And it was really like in the course of the game, you're trying to piece together in your head what's going on in this game. And because the story was so good, I really felt that it was gripping. It was good enough to be able to do commentary over what was going on. Now there are other games that's actually fucking hard to do commentary on. Games that are really serious. Games that maybe don't have much of a story. Those kind of games get difficult to comment on because you can't really comment on people who aren't talking or whatever. Or another game like Phoenix Wright, sure, that game was a good playthrough because I was narrating it, but it was hard to do commentary because I was already narrating it. So it was me talking, and then me talking over my talking. A game like that's really hard to do commentary on. So, but yeah, I have to say, games with story is very important. Unless you're playing something that's really a hardcore style of game. So if you're playing a hardcore FPS, a hardcore puzzle game, you don't need good story. But a good story always adds to the overall quality of the game, and it definitely helps me to do good commentary because it gives me something to work with. A lot of people ask me, did I watch Evo this year? I kind of figured that people would have figured this out by now, but no, I did not. I've said previously in other Ask the Kings and other videos that I'm just really not that interested in the current generation of fighting games, alright? Street Fighter 4, Marvel 3, Mortal Kombat 9, not to say that they're horrendous games that aren't worthy to be played. I just don't like them that much. I kind of long for the time when I was going to this arcade called Tokyo Game Action in Rhode Island, and that was in like roughly 2007, and we were playing Super Turbo, Third Strike, Capcom vs. SNK 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Those games have been out for quite a long time. They had an established following. The gameplay had been fleshed out to the point where it was advanced enough where you had to learn these games to really be good at them. Like these games today, and I'm going to comment on this, and I don't take this the wrong way, there was an 8-year-old kid named Noah at Evo this year. He played with 2 buttons, and he almost made it to the winner's finals bracket, okay? What the fuck? Let's just think about this. A game that's so easy to play and so ridiculously easy in inputs, in gameplay, and obviously abusiveness of gameplay, that an 8-year-old who presses only 2 buttons almost qualified in the winner's bracket of his pool. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, that should prove to everyone. I'm not saying that the kid, maybe he does play it dedicated like everyone else who's a pro player does, but you shouldn't be able to win with 2 buttons. A game should be more complicated than that. A game should require more skill, more practice than that, and I'm disappointed that you have a game that's that ridiculously broken. That just proves that the game is broken. So I'm not, you know, trying to downgrade the level of skill that this kid has. Maybe this kid is outstanding at the game, but still, back in the day, you never saw an 8-year-old winning anything in a fighting game tournament. You know, it took time, dedication, a maturity of mind. The games were more complicated with the gameplay. The games today are far too simple and far too easy for someone to just jump in and be good at it. And the reason, again, I've said this before, they did it so that the common gamer who doesn't put a lot of time into games can be good at games. They want you to feel like just because you play a couple hours every week that you can hang up there, you know, and actually hang with the people who have been playing games for a decade. That's absolutely ridiculous from a competitive standpoint. The inputs are far too lax. The combos are far too easy to do. And yeah, the combos in Marvel's vs. Capcom 2, sure, there were infinite, sure, there were high damage combos, but they weren't easy to do. You had to really practice to get those down. In Marvel 3, every fucking character has a 100% combo. Every character can hit you after 1 hit, and those combos are easy to do. They're not difficult to do. So the game is a piece of shit. It really is. They need to fix this game, and hopefully with Ultimate Marvel 3, they'll fix those problems. I really am not very confident that they will, but the bottom line is I'm just not interested in today's line of games. They're far too easy to play. The inputs are too lax so people can mash and get, you know, reversals and special moves because they're not good at the game to be able to have the proper timing to really do those kind of things. There's no risk reward anymore. 100% combos are all too prominent. The games aren't that good. It's really more of a spectator sport at this point. The games are fun to watch. Marvel 3 is a blast to watch. So I understand everyone who tuned into Evo and watched the stream. Those games were fun to watch, but they're horrible to play. From a competitive player standpoint, someone who's been playing games competitively since the original Street Fighter 2, the current line of fighting games are bad. They're just not good in a competitive sense. So that's why I didn't watch Evo. Sorry to have to go off like that, but people consistently ask me these same questions, and I'm like, no, I have no interest in watching Evo. I really don't. Now things may change. You've got a patch coming out for Arcade Edition. You've got an Ultimate Marvel 3. You've got Street Fighter vs. Tekken. If things change, maybe I'll get more interested to play these games at a competitive capacity. At this point, I enjoy playing them. I'll still go to local tournaments and such to play them, but I have no interest in playing them competitively. Okay. A couple more questions, and we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to speed up here. Next question. I just found out that Gamer Nicole, who's a fan of mine, by the way, is putting up some great videos on her channel, her YouTube channel, so check that out, Gamer Nicole, if you want to check that out, about the best DSP commentaries of the month. Also, there's been 2 new music remixes that have been made. My question is, have you ever considered uploading these videos to your DSPGaming channel? Because Gamer Nicole's videos are hardly getting 1,000 views each, while on your channel they would probably get 10 times that amount. Same goes for these music remixes. And then his second question, he says, some people think that, oh no, this is actually, I guess I didn't record that person's name, so I apologize whoever asked that question. I didn't write down your name. I can't upload the videos because they're not mine. I don't own them, you know? I don't have the videos and I don't own them. Could I upload them on my channel? Sure, I could ask, but that's kind of like stealing the views. That's not fair. But what I do is I try to favorite those videos. Gamer Nicole I actually put in one of, in my other channels section on my page to try to get her more views. And now I've talked about her a couple times, so I hope that people do check out her stuff. It's really cool. What she does is she takes the funniest moments from my gameplay for each month, for her, in her opinion anyway, and she makes a montage. So if you missed some stuff, this is a good opportunity. You watch her 10-minute, 20-minute videos, and you actually say, oh, I didn't watch that, that sounds funny, and you'll go check it out yourself. It's a really cool way for me to recap what I've been doing as well. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Her YouTube channel is Gamer Nicole, and she's got some really good montage videos of my stuff. As for the music remixes, what I try to do is favorite them and put them in my favorites. So if you ever want to see what new remixes are out, what new videos are out from my fans, check my favorites and you'll be able to find those, okay? The next question is, some people think that working full-time on YouTube is pretty stress-free. I'd like to know if it's true. Do you ever feel stressed to meet a deadline for a game playthrough, or feel you have an obligation to the fans to upload playthroughs on time? That's from Josh. The only people who say that working on YouTube full-time is stress-free are people who don't work on YouTube full-time, and they probably want to, and they're jealous of people who do it. It's just as stressful as any other job. The only difference is I make my own schedule. So if I don't work hard and I'm lazy and I slack off, I won't make as much money, and I only have myself to blame. So I don't constantly have a boss yelling over my shoulder at me to get stuff done. That's really the only difference between what I'm doing and having a full-time job or a salaried job and having a boss and such like that. It's hard. It's hard to wake up on time every day, to play 8 hours of games some days, like I've been doing with Deus Ex. I've been playing over 8 hours a day, and then to be dedicated enough to put that footage on my computer, to set up the uploads, to babysit the uploads, to make sure that they work properly, which they don't always work properly, as you know if you've seen some of the processing issues, the naming issues of the videos. Then once they're uploaded, put them in a playlist, order the playlist correctly, because YouTube doesn't order videos added to a playlist correctly because it's a piece of shit. It's a lot of work and dedication that's required, so it's not stress-free. I do feel pressure of deadlines. Like right now, I have Ask the King to do, I have a channel update to do, I want to do the new Call of Duty Zombie map, but now I also have to get back to Deus Ex, but I also want to try Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now to get stuff done this week and not let it spill into the next week when there's new games coming out. So there are deadlines, there is stress, and it's a lot of hard work. So fuck to the haters, fuck you. You know, if you think that it's so easy, oh yeah, well, Phil just sits on his ass and plays video games all day. I wish. I wish that it was me just sitting here playing video games and relaxing and not worrying about commentary quality, getting games done, getting the uploads done. It's not like that. It is hard work, and bottom line is, if you're saying that, you're either misinformed or you're just jealous. Alright, a couple more quick questions. Let's see here. Alright, so basically I got a couple Twitter questions and then 2 common questions I want to answer, and I got about 5 minutes left. So the Twitter questions. This one's from Alienator789. He says, what's your favorite part about being on YouTube with dedicated fans? 2 things. Number 1, the outstanding fan feedback that I get. When I'm watching videos, and, I'm sorry, not watching videos, when I'm reading the comments on my videos, a lot of the fans actually give me tips, give me pointers, explain, you know, things in the game, and I never used to have that. I just play the game and I get frustrated. Why can't I beat this guy? What is wrong with this? What am I doing wrong? I don't know. Now I have this interactive community who's watching what I'm doing almost live and giving me feedback, and a lot of the times that ends up helping me in the long run playing these games. So I love that. I love that ability. And then number 2, the positive responses that I get. It's really good to me when I put in hard work and dedication and then I get a positive response. And a lot of the times, a lot of people don't get that. They work their asses off at their jobs, they bust their ass, and they never even get so much as a thank you from their boss. They don't get raises, they don't get bonuses, they don't get anything. And then their boss, oh, you should just be happy to have a job. Fuck you to people who say you should just be happy to have a job. You should have the ability to enjoy what you do for a living. Everyone should. And it's not fair that there are people who bust their ass day in and day out hating what they do, and they get mistreated at their jobs. I'm speaking from experience because it's happened to me in the past. So I'm extremely grateful that people give me the feedback they do, and I'm extremely grateful that people give me praise. Next question is from B. Huggin, and he says, with all the games that you play and the videos you upload throughout the year, approximately how much do you pay for your light bill? He must mean the electric bill. And that's a good question, but it's actually funny. I probably don't pay as much as you think. Even during the most busy months of the summer where I have the AC pumping all the time, I only spend, I think the most I've ever spent was like $230, maybe $250 for electricity. Typically, when it's not a hot summer month and the AC is not pumping, it's under $200, probably like $130, $140. So it's not that bad. The last Twitter question, would you be interested in meeting with a fan with an illness that wanted to meet you, like through the Make-A-Wish Foundation? And that's from Kool-Aid King. Of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer. If there was a fan who was that dedicated to me and really, you know, if it was their wish to meet me and spend a day with me and hang out, maybe do some gaming, absolutely I would consider that. And I can't, obviously it would depend on the reality of it, you know, if the kid could realistically get here or whatever. But there's no, I mean, that's crazy. If anything, I'm extremely flattered to be asked that question, because I couldn't imagine anyone who would think that I would be their wish for Make-A-Wish Foundation. I would think someone who's like a TV celebrity, or someone who, you know, a famous, the president. I want to meet, or, you know, a lot of people say John Cena because he's the biggest person in wrestling right now. That's the kind of stuff I would think for that. I wouldn't think that you would think Darkside Phil would be the guy you would want to meet. So I'm actually very flattered at this question, that someone would even think of it in that way. Now, I'm running out of time, so I have two quick questions that were common questions that I want to address, okay? Recently, a 20-year-old kid died from playing video games. The reason he died is because he didn't move for like 8 hours. He just sat like this, literally like this. Now let me ask you something. Does anyone in their right fucking mind sit like this and not move? Even when I play games for extended periods of time like Deus Ex, when between the parts, I don't just go, oh, and mash quickly. You know, okay, I'm playing, I need to take a break. So every 20 minutes, maybe I'll get up and walk around a little bit, you know? Go get a drink, go use the bathroom, go check the internet. You can't just sit still for that amount of time. And this kid obviously is loco. Well, was loco, till he died from a blood clot. And shame on his fucking parents for letting him sit there like a fucking rock and not say, what the hell are you doing sitting there perfectly still? Like, they should know you have to move your body. So it's a shame that that happened, but I think it's ridiculous that people are trying to blame video games for it. He could have been sitting there watching movies for 12 hours and the same thing could have happened. So fuck you to the stupid media who like to blame things on video games. Last but not least, controversy surrounding GameStop. Here's what happened. Deus Ex on the PC version of the game, is being sold with a coupon inside to get a free copy of the game over on Live, which is an online streaming service for video games. As you know, if you watch my videos where I actually tried the console. So basically you buy Deus Ex on PC and you get another free copy of it that you can stream anywhere. Well, the higher-ups at GameStop said, wait a minute, OnLive is a gaming service that directly competes with our business model. We sell physical copies of games, they sell digital streaming of games. Why are we going to allow this gaming company to promote our direct competitor in a product we're selling? So compare it to this. You go to Quiznos, and Quiznos makes you a tasty sandwich, and they wrap it up, but on the wrapper of the Quiznos sandwich is a coupon to get a free Subway sandwich at Subway. So that would be like, again, you're selling a product, and something in the product is giving away a competitor's product. It doesn't make sense. So I kind of agree. I can see their line of reasoning at GameStop why they were upset that Eidos didn't tell them, number one, they didn't tell them they were going to put the coupons in the game, and number two, they did it without their knowledge or without their even asking. So here's GameStop now stuck with thousands upon thousands of PC copies of the game. What do we do? And the higher-ups say, open the games, take the coupons out, and sell the games as new. That I don't agree with. If you're going to sell me a game that's open, you can't charge me full price. And I've always disagreed with this practice at GameStop. So do I think they're wrong for taking the coupon out? I actually don't. From a business perspective, I can see why they did it. But I disagree with them trying to sell the game as new. They should have discounted those games and took the hit if they didn't want to promote their competitor per se. Or they should have worked it out with Eidos and said, Eidos, fuck you. Give us a discount because you basically screwed us by putting this coupon in the games and now we have to sell them at a discounted price. Don't hurt the consumer by charging us full price for an open game. Hurt the company who really hurt you, who's Eidos. Okay, that was a lot. That's it for this edition of Ask the King. I'm about to run out of time, but thanks for tuning in. And remember, I do these once a month, but there's a lot of other stuff coming up. There's going to be a very important channel update with a lot of important info, so check that out. And then also, zombies today, if you're watching this on the day that this video comes out. So stay tuned, and it's coming up later. Thanks.